Have you heard the saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? Well, that's not the case with my trip to Arizona. Yep, that's me.
All good. Yep.
Right. Camera's good.
All good. My camera was my first priority.
I saw that.
This is my trip to Arizona to film an event for Veterans Breakthrough. Today we're at Gold Canyon. We're gonna hike the hieroglyphics trail. It's my dad. Here we go. I'm out here trying to teach my dad how to shoot videos, and he's catching his camera and everything. So let me give you guys a little background. The Hieroglyphics Trail is actually a trail that the Indians used to travel, and at the very top of this hike, there was this area where there was old artifacts where Indians had drawn on the rocks and left the actual scenery behind. So there was a spot that was like across this little pond that you see in this video where there was a ledge. It was a perfect ledge. I get this great photo opportunity for my dad and I to sit up there, have one of our hikers snap this picture. So we end up climbing up to this ledge. We sat up there. I climbed back down to check the photo, and that's when the fall happened. Now, the actual fall looked a lot worse than what it really was. It actually kind of slid down like I was going down a slide and just plopped down the next level, and everything was fine. So I ended up grabbing my camera, walking up further up the trail, and then we sat down. There's a nice spot to actually grab a bite to eat, drink some water to hydrate ourselves, and I looked over and I saw movement out of the corner of my eye, and there it was. So it was actually very interesting as we sat there and we started to film one lizard. I think the quieter we sat, the more they started to appear. There was like 6 or 7 lizards that were all over the place, and they started coming out from underneath these rocks. So after getting hydrated and basically enjoying the scenery, we decided that it's time to start heading back. So we descended back down the trail, got to our vehicles, headed to my brother's house because he was getting back home at that point. And we found out he was having some issues with his truck. So I did like any big brother would do and offered to help him start tearing this apart. So I asked for some work clothes. We started tearing this thing apart, found out he had some issues with the wheels where we had to order some parts. So we ended up fixing that later before I ended up flying back home. But we had to get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, and they had to set up for their tournament. The tournaments are held at a hangar. So it's actually super awesome because they have this huge door that opens up where the airplanes will pull out into the airport. And while we're working, you'll see choppers coming in, stuff like that. And I have just a few shots because we're so busy working. And then Saturday was a big day. See, the big day was them having this tournament. It was their 4th tournament now. So they did 2 last year and then 2 this year. And they raised funds for veterans that are life-changing funds. They help veterans transition from the military world into the civilian world by gaining some of the things that they need that's going to help them. And I'll go on more on that later. But let's take a quick peek at the tournament Saturday that I filmed, the reason why I was down in Arizona. And I'll give you a little quick recap of this tournament. I have to tell you, it was like the coolest thing ever. During the tournament, as I'm filming, I'm talking to people, I'm doing some interviews, and I met a lot of veterans. And they're talking about how Veterans Breakthrough changed their life, how it got them out doing something, belonging, having purpose, and making a change in our life. And it was just like the coolest thing ever. It was so awesome to be part of something so amazing. So that night we wrapped up the event. We ended up packing everything up. We got home super late. And then we kind of slept a little bit to catch up some sleep because we've been getting up early and late every night that we've been there. Sunday now, we went back to my brother's place and we fixed his truck. All the parts were in, so we put that all back together. His truck was fixed. It was all good now. And we decided that we're going to head back to my dad's place. They have like a resort in the middle of this place where they can enjoy all these amenities between hot tub, weight rooms, steam rooms, shuffleball courts, pickleball, tennis, the pool, you name it, they had everything there. So here you see a quick time lapse of us playing shuffleboard. I won, never played it before in my entire life, but I just want to brag about that I won.
The loser has to sweep off the courts.
And afterwards, we grabbed our swim trunks, went back to the pool, and sat in the hot tub for a while to kind of just chill and relax. And I just happened to like lean back, and there was these palm trees behind me. As I looked up, it was just like this amazing shot. So I grabbed my cell phone, just tipped back and took a little photo. And this is a shot I captured. I don't know how in the world I got that shot and pulled it off, but it was perfect with the cell phone. That was the end of Sunday. Monday started a whole new day where we're exploring more veteran stuff that was going on. So Monday, we had the resort that my parents live at. They had a veteran service.
Veterans, attention! Present who?
After that was all done, we ended up heading back to my brother's house where we're gonna go for a hike. Now, this hike we're gonna go to was in what's called Tortilla Flats. In this town, they have like literally a little strip mall. It looks like an old Western type setup where there's like a cafe, there's like an ice cream parlor, a souvenir shop. And we took this hike that was right next to it on Peters Canyon Trail. So we started this journey and we weren't even really that far into it. I would say if you estimate like city blocks, it was like 2 city blocks. And as we're walking, my dad has his camera on his shoulder and he comes down a little valley where he catches some loose gravel and he falls. Now, he's trying to protect his camera because he doesn't want the camera to smash into something or break the lens. So he's trying to be careful of that. Well, that actually put him in more danger because he starts slipping further down this hill, end up going into a cactus bush. And here's the result of that. And yes, he broke his camera too. Then we come upon this area where there was this big rock that had either been washed up, believe it or not, these things are huge, like the size of this room, had been washed up from all this rain they had, or it literally fell at one point and blocked the trail. So to get over it, we had a lot of scaling to get over. So my brother decided he was gonna climb up and see what it was like after that to see if we could just get over that one rock and then continue on, or if it looked like that happened more down the road, which it did. But then I hear him say, "Oh my gosh, you guys have to see this." So we ended up climbing up on top of this rock, and here it was. There is a tarantula that's the size of my palm when it was on this rock climbing down it. Well, I was trying to get a good picture of it in video, which you guys are gonna see probably overlay this here. And I couldn't get a good shot because it was just too far away, even with this selfie stick thing I had that was like 9 feet long. So my brother decided he was gonna go and climb around to the other side, and I was gonna see if I could reach on the stick to bring it down and get a closer shot of this tarantula. And it just wouldn't work. We couldn't reach each other to get it there. So I asked him like, hey, can you get like a stick maybe and like pick him up and bring him over here so I can get a good shot of it because it'd be perfect for this video. And at that time, the spider actually ended up falling in the water. It was like upside down. You see his legs kind of moving. And my brother decided to grab the stick and see if he could kind of fish him out for us. Well, when he did that, he went off the big rock that you see the spider on to the rock that's just to the left of that. And he put his hand on the edge of it to reach out to grab with the stick to scoop it up as he's on his knees. And he fell in the water. Chris just fell in that water.
Will you do that for me?
And it's funny because I sit there and I think about like how this would have been if he would have just like stood up like you see in a movie and he's like, where'd the spider go or the tarantula go? And you're like, don't move, like it's climbing up his shoulder or something like that, but it didn't happen. So we end up journeying back towards Tortilla Flats. And then we went to eat at the restaurant there. And the coolest thing ever, this restaurant, you walk in there, every single wall in this restaurant is lined with dollar bills. They estimate there's over $500,000 in this restaurant on the walls. So then we ventured back to my brother's house. We just kind of chilled for a while. And then Tuesday in the morning, we just kind of hung out and just relaxed a little bit. But Tuesday night, my brother had an event at one of the local jiu-jitsu places that is one of their affiliate locations. So this is one of the places that they sponsor a veteran to go into and actually be a member at. They had a veteran service where they're allowing vets to come in and actually experience this for the first time and learn some different roles and submission holds and stuff like that. And it was just so cool watching these vets do this for the very first time. And then my brother talked about how Veterans Breakthrough sponsors them for these different organizations, these affiliate camps, to have a membership there. And it was so cool having these guys come up and say, I want to be part of this. I want to be a part of this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing. I want to be sponsored. Like, how do I do this? Where's the application? So we ended up sending them to their website where they can actually become a sponsor. But it was really cool because the owner, one of the owners at location, I think there's multiple ones, was talking about how they were working with other veteran services to do things like that. And they're like, this was not, Veterans Breakthrough is not the same as any of these other ones we worked with. They don't sit there and go through all this fluff and time, whatever it is. They go through and they get the vet registered, get them set up, and they get them in there and start doing things like right now. They try to make the impact, right? They're trying to get that change right away. And that's what the whole thing was about. And it was just so cool listening to how much the Veterans Breakthrough is changing lives and making an impact. So that was the end of Tuesday night. Wednesday morning, we're heading off to the airport super early and we flew back. But that was my trip to Arizona and it was amazing. I'm so glad to be part of it. And if you guys get a chance, do me a favor, go to veteransbreakthrough.org. I'll put that in the description above or below this video and make a donation to them. Help sponsor vets, and let's make this a worldwide thing where Veterans Breakthrough expands beyond Arizona and moves into other gyms, other locations to help vets because they're making an impact that I've never seen before.